Occasionally I get the privilege of being able to see games ahead of everyone else being able to see them, either through pre-release, early access, alpha, beta development stages, and it's the last of those that we're getting to see today with Get Your Tentacles Off My Waifu. This game is available in alpha form on itch, and I'll pop the link down below, but there's a slightly more detailed version that's going out to patrons that support Flying Realms, who's a solo developer working on this game. Get Your Tentacle Off My Waifu is a pony versus pony. Oh yes, we're going for all the Twitter memes here. Shoot 'em up. But it plays really, really well. And that's why I want to promote this experience, because not only was I laughing my head off at just the general premise and stupidity of it all, Saturday morning cartoons in the 90s crossed with Twitter memery. I mean, what's not to love? But actually, there's some really interesting mechanics here of about how do you systemically break down a giant boss that is full of loads of dismemberable parts. And that's where the fun of Get Your Tentacles Off My Waifu comes in. Each level starts off with you controlling this pony. You are able to fly around ad infinitum, which gives you full range of motion across the entire level and screen that you're playing at. The levels will have different geography, which comes into effect because the tentacled beast that is trying to steal your waifu not only grabs the waifu and keeps her safe and away from you, and you need to like shoot the tentacles to get her back and try and catch her and save her, which when you do means that she then grabs a gun and joins you in the battle so that you can have double fire range. But the tentacles, kind of like a proper octopus, contract all the way back, and then the attack kind of comes out and like flaily arms and tentacles come and swipe at you. And so the beauty of this game is that your fire range is about as far as half of their tentacle. So you have to get within range of being swiped to cause damage. And so you're constantly dipping in and out, doing some damage to the end of the tentacle, because you get to cause more damage at the end of each tentacle rather than going straight for the end. It's not really a feasible thing to do, is to try and go straight for the root of the monster. You have to constantly like shave off the tentacles and chop off dead bits as it kind of goes along. The monster has multiple eyes. They're kind of like nuclei for holding various tentacles. So you can brush a few tentacles out of the way and then have access to the eye, which if you can then get to that will then drop off a few tentacles all at once. So there's loads of different ways how you can go about attacking these tentacle monsters. And the geography makes such a difference, because if you end up down in the pit, then that monster comes a-running and it will kind of bobble off around. And if you shoot the monster and divide it up, it can very well become like multiple monsters. A bit like Pang, actually, in the way how, you know, in Pang, when you'd shoot up, the bubble would then burst into two smaller ones. The same thing can happen here as well, and it happened to me where I had eyes with like two tentacles walking around in one area of the level and in a big globule somewhere else. And it's that kind of sandboxy chaos that really keeps Get Your Tentacles Off My Waifu feeling alive and fresh and interesting. In between these monsters and these big huge battles, you also have battles with other like ponies or flying ponies. There's one in a cape that's flying around with a very, very exuberant firing gun. But they can also kind of brainwash your waifus so that they then come after you in battle too. So you'll have to kind of like swat them down and then quickly collect them before like they can be turned to the dark side, so that they can then be on your side in these kind of mini boss battles. The whole thing looks and plays like an absolute dream. There's a lot still to come from this game, and this comes from the added complexity of more and more monsters with more and more tentacles, with more and more firepower, causing more and more bullet hell. So if that sounds like it's right up your street, dive on over to itch.io, grab the current alpha build so that you can get in and play and have a little rummage around. And if this is the kind of thing that you like to support, then the developer has a Patreon which allows ongoing development, and you get extra like advanced versions of the build as it kind of progresses through time, and obviously provide feedback to the developer. I'm really excited for this game. I will be keeping an eye on it as it gets closer to a version 1.0 release. And then, might well be parting with some cash because I'm already sold. Pony versus pony waifu action. Hold the tentacles. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/Higher Plane Network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.